Hello everyone, I'm really excited to do a tutorial for this new visual. I spent a really long time on it, so I'm really excited to be able to share it with everyone. So this is particles that are movement reactive. So you can do things with your hand and distance and movement, but it's also reactive with body movement. Basically, the setup is stuff with our video, so you can use your video device input, and so it's accessible to anyone whose computer has a camera. And then we've got some mathy stuff to do, and then we're going to build our particles. Just going to show a bit more what we can do before we get started. And now I have a mic also that should go into both of your ears, not just left. Right, so here we go. So our first step is going to be putting down a video device in top. And once your video top is in, I put my resolution as pretty low. You can play around with that. My device is my Mac camera. You can do that with a different device if you want to. Next, we're going to put down a reorder top. For red, green, and blue, it's set to luminance for your input 1. Your output for your alpha is alpha. And then you're going to attach a cache to your reorder. So we have video device to reorder to a cache top. In your cache, active, off, get one image on startup, off, replace single, off, replace index 0, prefill on, cache size 2, step size 1, output index 1, interpolate frames off, always cook off, reset off. And then your cache is going to be connected to a difference, and your video is going to connect into the first input of your difference, and then the cache into the second. So I hope that's all good for now. Video to reorder, reorder to cache, cache to difference, but the second input, and your video goes into the first one. So in your difference, your fixed layer is the input 1, which is your video. Scale 1, 1, pivot 0.5, 0.5. All right. And then your difference is going to connect to a level top. And so this is, the entire tutorial is going to be very customizable, but once you get towards the end, you can come back and maybe make some changes that are more individual. But these are my settings for my level: black level, negative 0.09, brightness 1, gamma 1, contrast 1.98. My range: in low 0, in high 1, out low 0, out high 1. RGBA: low red is 0, high red is 1, low green 0, high green 1, low blue 0, high blue 1, low A 0, high A 1. In the post, my gamma is 1, opacity 1, brightness 1. And then you're going to connect that to a blur top. The method is horizontal and vertical, type Catmull ROM, extend, hold, pre-shrink 1, filter size 7, sample step 1, rotate kernel 0. And then that is going to go into a threshold top. And so these are when we're going to create, this is where we create our possibility for the movement with these values that are going to come from what exists in the image after all that we have done to it. So your threshold is at 0.329, comparator less, RGB luminance, alpha same as RGB, soften is at 0. And so once you have all of that, the next thing that we're going to do is create a top to chop. And so that is here in your chops, you go to top to. And so that's going to create a chop that can connect to your last top. So you can just drag from your top, tab, top to chop. And so now all the information that is coming in from your threshold is going into your top to chop. So your new chop. And so here we're going to start to create some values that are going to allow the pixels we create later to be controlled by our movement. So here in our chop, your top is the threshold 1, or whatever your threshold is titled here. And red, we're going to put R. Active channel red, RGBA units 0 to 1. Under crop, row U, UV units 0 to 1, U start 0, U end 1, V start 0.5. Extend, you're going to keep cycle, the default color is black. And then my sample rate is time. So you can set that up if it's not automatic. And then your chop is going to go to an analyze. So here it's analyzing the red channels from our image in the threshold. So as I move, that's being affected. And so now we have an analyze, and here we have our value. The analyze function is average, and you shouldn't have to change anything in the common. All right, so here it's getting tricky a bit, but not really. It'll be fine. So now we're going to create two different sort of channels, plus a third one. The one here on the top is just to make the pixels always be in motion so that it's constantly alive in a way, the particles. And then these two channels are coming from our movement. So from your analyze, going to create a math, which is going to be your math TX. Under OP, channel pre-op off, combined channels average, combined chops off, channel post-op off, align automatic. And then here is where you're going to set your first math controls. So since we're pulling everything from the R, we're just going to create different values so that there's different things that are being changed later on with our final result. And so here you can really play around. You maybe want to start with what I have. Maybe you want to try different values. But I wanted mine to be different, but not, but the values not too far apart either. So one of my values is always going to be around 2.5, and one of them later is going to be around 0.91 or 1. And then for our other channel, it's personally randomizing. Okay, so anyways, so we have our math. And pre-add I have set to 0, multiply 1, post-add negative 0.022. Range 0 to 1, from range 0 to 1 to range negative 5 to 5. And that should be everything. And so then here you're going to name your math TX for that first one. This math is going to connect to a lag, and the lag is going to be connected to a rename. And so we're going to rename that R from R to TX. And now for our TY, we have our analyze going to another math. You can rename that math TY. And here pre-add 0, multiply 0.76, post-add 0.004. And from range 0 to 1 to range -5 to 5. And that also is going to connect to a lag and then to a rename. And so we're going to rename that TY from R to TY. So now we have our TX and we have our TY. And then we're going to put down a merge. And in that merge, you're going to put your TX, TY. And so now this top channel that I have going on here, I'm just immediately bringing a lag out of the analyze. And then the lag is going into a noise chop. And my settings are type sparse, seed 1, period 1, harmonics 1, roughness 0.5, exponent 1, amplitude 1, offset 0. And so that's also going to go into the merge. And I have it as my third input into the merge, but you can once again play around with that yourself. All right, so we're doing pretty good. This, for me, is the most complicated, personally. So a hard part for my brain is over. All right, so now we're going to create some particles. And look at how fun that is when you put down this type of noise. Anyways. Okay, so going to put down a sphere. So you're going to go to your SOPs and put down a sphere. Primitive type, mesh, connectivity, triangles, rotate order RX, RY, RZ. Center 0, 0, 0, rotate 0, 0, 0, anchor U 0.5, anchor V 0.5, anchor W 0.5, orientation Y-axis. Rows 20, columns 40. Another thing that you can play around with. And you're going to connect this to a particle SOP. And here I have my mass at under the particles at 0.03, drag 1.69, birth all the way up to 4,000, life expectancy 10, life variance 0.064, alpha speed 0, surface attraction 1, birth count 1. State, particle type render as lines, behavior particle system, point reuse points in loop, pre-roll time 0, and we'll get to the time. Max steps, jitter births on, accurate moves off, remove unused points off, attractor use all points. All right. And then we're going to put down a noise. And in this noise, attribute point diffuse color, type harmonics summation, seed 1, period 4.65, harmonics 1, harmonic spread 2, roughness 0.5, exponent 1, amplitude 1, offset 0. And here I have something on the transform. We can just do this now. So this is being transformed by the time. Okay. And then you're going to put your geo. So you're going to drag from your noise, click tab, and then put down your geo. And you should have particles. And you shouldn't need to do anything else. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then for your material that is going into your geo, you're going to put down a constant. And shouldn't have to change anything yet in your constant. And so then, yeah, in your geo under material, you're putting your constant. And then your render with your camera and your light. So geo, camera, and your light, and your render. All right. And so now, to get this all controlled by our movement, you have all of these values here. And so in order to be able to drag them, you want to click this, the viewer. And so for the values in my sphere, I have my radius, X and Y being controlled by these values here. So you're going to take them and you're going to put them in there for the X and the Y. And then in the particles, under forces, I have my X and my Y. And you can also see if you want to put anything into your noise, or if you want to try with also, for example, under particles, your drag or your speed or life variance or something, if you want to control that with these values, but it didn't work out so well with me. And then under your constant, so here I have my TX is controlling the color. So when right now I'm moving my hand, you can't see, but it's also changing the color. And you could change all of these if you wanted a lot of change in your color. And you can also use this channel 1 as something to control. And it's just more randomized. Allora, so now we're all good. We have our render. Okay, good. And so in our render, for the moment, we won't have that much going on, which is normal. Then we're going to put down a feedback edge. So this is going to start to make things more interesting. And here I have my source gain controlled by my TX and my edge strength controlled by my TY. These are my edge color settings. And scale 1.016, blur source 1, blur feedback 5, feedback gain 1.03, feedback black level 0, hue shift -2, saturation multiplier 1, and dry and wet mix is at 0.946. And once again, you can put in your different values in different places here on your feedback edge. This was just what worked the best for me. And then you're going to connect this. And also, I always say, if anyone doesn't know, you have your palette here. So your feedback edge is going to be under your image filters. After your feedback edge, you're going to put down a pixel relocator, which is here in your palette. And this is going to make things pretty fun and interesting. So after this pixel relocator, you're going to put your RGB key, which is just going to give a black background. But the difference if we didn't have this pixel relocator would be that we would have this, which is also quite cool. Right now I'm moving my hand, but I really liked it with the pixel relocator. It kind of makes things more fun, wavy. Alright, and then you have your RGB key and your out, and then your window. I'm still really a beginner, so any criticism is okay and appreciated, and I'm just trying my best. And I really had this idea in my mind and I really wanted to make it, so I am kind of proud and happy with it, so don't be too mean. Anyways, have fun, thanks for watching, and see you soon virtually. And the file will be on Patreon.